suddenly I was drawn to create a retreat of 21 days. I've never been drawn to do that. It wasn't something that I'd seen way back to do. It started to arise just a couple of years ago, very gently, but the momentum of it entering my consciousness became really fierce about 18 months ago. The immersion into 21 days is the truth that over that kind of period, you get to live radically. You get to live an experiential life directly, like possibly you could not live in your world as it is. That you get to experience thinking in a new way, feeling in a new way, being in a new way, engaging yourself and others and life in a totally new way.
Well, I come from Malaysia originally, and I came to Australia to study, and I became a medical doctor, and I'm a general practice, but I've also done many things along the way in the healing, especially Chinese medicine. I'm a herbalist and acupuncturist.
My name is Talasi, and I'm from Denmark. Back home there in Copenhagen, on the other side of this place, I have a center for spiritual human evolution for people who want to get to know who they are in their essential nature.
What I was learning, what I was noticing in my life is that my spiritual work had become really dry. So there'd become a dryness in our relationship also. And we've gotten into a lot of habits, been together quite a while.
The first part of the retreat, the very first week, and this was also mirrored in the movement of the form, was about seeing where you are right now, seeing what no longer served your growth, served where you were heading towards, even though you wouldn't even know, maybe you didn't even know where you were heading towards. That might come to light later. Indeed it did for most. And as it were, not working through, but dissolving those patterns of holding to that old structure, dissolving them through intelligence. And as we began to know and encourage ourselves and each other to really be present in whatever moved, we began to know, hey, this is good, to actually understand what went on in your life, to actually engage what's present here in those old structures. We learn not to fear. Until we become more inspired by a more purposeful, more meaningful life, we robotically move and we don't know what's moving it. An old pattern, an old fear, an old doubt could be moving your form, and so then you move in an old way that doesn't serve yourself, doesn't grow you, doesn't help others to grow. So then you're constantly buffering up against yourself and others, because what's moving you is an old doubt, an old fear which you have not faced and dissolved as yet. So the form helps you discover old patterns that are still moving you, that have served their purpose, but nonetheless they have to be transformed. When we're not refusing movement, but we're feeling through the movement into nothing, form then takes a new shape and then has a new resonance. The form helps you discover old patterns that are still moving you, that have served their purpose, but nonetheless they have to be transformed. And also the movement of the form begins to show you as consciousness, men and women, how to get deep inside the body into that that's animating it, which is pure intelligence, which is our being. So we begin to come out of our old mindset, out of our old conditioning, and fall into the place which is animating the entire universe, let alone just you and I as bodies. And that's our authentic self.
Over the few days, I was able to take in everything he said, and it all makes sense. It's all so clear that I just drop into that, my deepest heart's longing about all the things I'm looking for. Here's this man talking about it, and not just talking, but it seems to come into my knowing, deep within me, as being true.
I've done outrageous trainings or retreats before, but this one have really, really touched me deeply in the love in everything here.
Principles from which the male and the female operate. So in understanding that more clearly, and Bernie's really, I've never heard anything like him with such clarity, and it's just sort of like, it's a big, oh, this is why guys are like this and gals are like that. In principle, they're just operating on different principles, and that's the way it is. That's sort of their job.
Week 2 began to open up to that as we were facing the known in our life, and the structures of safety, mental, emotional, physical structures of safety that we've created an identity with. When we'd faced them and let them go more, let them just rest as they are, we're not going to change them, we're just going to see that that was our known identity. But what's next? What is there beyond that known? We determine how, when and what takes place on this earth, not some other god somewhere out in the universe, not some other race. Individually and collectively, the way we experience ourselves manifests on our world. So as you believe yourself to be, you will be that manifest. So the whole point I'm endeavoring to bring across to people is that for you individually to know yourself deeper and respond to your deeper knowing, no matter what the fears might arise in your mind or your emotional body, but more than that, to get the thrill of being alive and authentic, is for you to really care about the human experience, for you to really care about the continuing of life on this earth in such an authentic way, an inspired way, and move with that. You don't need peace then, because peace happens when you are living authentically. It's natural. You don't need to seek peace. It'll happen inside of you. The more authentic you are, peace will be everywhere, inside of you.